Hello there, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I want to look at a control test of September 2023, and we are going to look at the essay question on economic and development. So our question is got 40 marks and requires you to spend on average 40 minutes. So all the first part of our question are discuss in detail the characteristics of developing countries, and this is going to be our main part with a total of 26 marks, and then we've got the additional part which reads how I have basic services such as health and welfare improved in South Africa with 10 marks. And this is going to be our additional part. So obviously, according to our essay, you're supposed to start with the introduction. So in the introduction, you can define any key term that we see in the question. So we have got developing countries that we can define in the introduction, whereby developing countries are basically they are countries with a relatively low standard of living, and they've got an undeveloped industrial base and a moderate human development index. So those are the characteristics of developing countries. So also they have less in developed industrial base and a lower human development index relative to developed countries. So that is compared to developed countries, they have a lower human development index. So basically, this is what we have. So our description that we have here is that developing countries are countries with economies that are less industrialized and have low human development index and GDP per capita. Then we go to the now to the main part, whereby now the main part reads and discuss in detail the characteristics of developing countries. So what are the characteristics of developing countries? So these are the characteristics that we have. The first characteristic that we have is low standard of living. So it is that we low standard of living characterize developing countries. We have our citizens in developing countries are going through a low standard of living, whereby the standard of living of the majority of people is low, and they earn low income, resulting in poverty and lack of housing. So these are the explanation that we have in terms of a low standard of living. Then I will say that also we can I have a continuation on low standard of living, which is also being enhanced by poverty and poor health conditions. Also have lack of education. So these are the main components of that are leading to low standard of living. Then we go to the second characteristic that we have. We have got low levels of productivity. So we see that economic activity in developing countries is also negatively affected, leading to lower levels of productivity. That is, productivity per capita is very low. Productivity per capita, we are saying the total production in the economy and in terms of the number of units that is being produced, and then obviously we divide by the population that we have in the country so that we get the average per individual. So basically, this is what we have. Then the reason for this is poor health, poor education, and training, leading to lower levels of productivity. And also, there is a lack of capital to buy machinery and equipment to develop human resources. So this is what we have in terms of low levels of productivity. So moving on to the next part of the characteristics, we've got also another characteristics of high levels of unemployment and underemployment. So this characterize also the developing countries where the majority of people are unemployed or underemployed. Then I also have high population growth rate, also characterize developing countries. They have high population growth rate, the number of children below 50 years is usually about 40% of the population. So we would see that this is also a characteristic of developing countries, and this is also being explained on the basis of maybe um, lower access to contraceptives that is leading to high population and growth rate. Then we also have another characteristic that we have of high dependence on primary sector. They depend mostly on the agricultural sector. They depend mostly on the agricultural sector is the point that we have here. And also, this is because there are no manufacturing players. So the manufacturing, there is lower activity due to a lack of funding in developing countries. So basically, that's what we have on this one. We have got further points that are explaining high dependence on private sector. Then also another characteristic that we have is deficient infrastructure. The infrastructure is poor. Developing countries do not have enough infrastructure. The few that they have are in poor state. So that characterize developing countries, which is also characterized by poor roads and bridges, railways, and communication networks. So with that, we move to the next characteristic, which is low life expectancy. Uh, We are seeing that we have got low life expectancy due to lack of medical facilities. People die at young age. And also the eruption of HIV and AIDS and now COVID-19 has reduced the expectancy even further. So you see that developing countries also are mostly hit countries by the HIV because of low health facilities that are there, and also there are lower campaigns that are done to prevent this obviously the spread of the HIV and AIDS. So this is what we have on this part, and then we move on to the next part, whereby we have now the additional part, whereby the additional part is how we have basic services such as health and welfare improved in South Africa. So these are the points that we have pertaining that, whereby the first one is the welfare system assists disadvantaged groups through transfer payments. And we've got examples of these groups are individuals who need child support or disability grants. Also, further points that we have in terms of that. And also access to health has increased has increased significantly. So we have these as other points that we can include uh, on the additional part, which reads how we have basic services such as health and welfare improved in South Africa. And of course, this is a question, and we are supposed to end with our conclusion. So this is basically a typical conclusion that we have that we can come up with according to this essay. And our conclusion has got 2 marks. And our total, of course, of the question is 40 marks. So thank you for listening, and hopefully the video was helpful. And please let's not forget to subscribe and share to our channel, and share the link to our colleagues who are doing the 11 economics. As for this video, I'm signing out.